This presentation, I'm going to cover who are Oceanwise, if you don't know, just to give you a bit of an overview to what I'm doing here. Why marine mapping is important, what marine maps are available through Digimap, so the products that you can use, and then I'll pick up some case studies of how our marine data is being used within industry, and finish off with some marine facts. Okay, so just on Oceanwise, so we're a UK-based small medium enterprise with a global reach. Our kind of specialism is are three-pronged. We are a leading supplier of marine mapping products and services. We supply government ports, offshore energy for use within a GIS and online maps. A big part of our business is also in monitoring systems. So we provide hardware and installations of monitoring stations for tidal, meteorological, wave data, etc. These are commonly in ports and offshore services. Pretty much every port within the country has some of our equipment, and our equipment is pretty much all around the world as well, in countries as far as Wales, New Zealand, and many parts of Africa. And as part of that, we also very much about linking up this data, so being able to provide the information to the customer through some kind of through a portal, so it's easily accessible in a dashboard view. Then we also work within compliance, so data management training is very important to us, ensuring our customers are using their data most efficiently. We also have an asset management system. We provide enterprise solutions within GIS in particular to the marine and maritime sectors. So that's really Oceanwise in a nutshell. There's lots more to it, but it's what we could fit onto a slide in a simple couple of minutes. Bear with me. Something right. So a bit about marine data. It covers 71% of the Earth's surface. We believe that marine and coastal domain should not have to fall behind its terrestrial counterpart when it comes to having a fit for purpose digital base mapping. As I've said, we are a leading provider in marine mapping worldwide. Oceanwise personnel have been the pioneering force in developing and improving availability of marine data. Oceanwise are members of the geospatial governing bodies, as well as the United Nations Working Group for Marine Data. We have very good relationships with a lot of hydrographic offices around the world, and we use their data and we add value to their data to create the best possible solutions for our customers. Often data that we start with is navigation data, built data provided for navigation, and we're manipulating that and turning it into good quality maps for our customers. As marine mapping has developed, the emphasis today is on delivering fit for purpose maps that can be used and manipulated increasingly digitized world. So moving away from typically paper raster type charts to more electronic intelligent maps. And we believe that the creation of intelligent marine mapping is key in deliver maps that are authoritative, flexible, and compatible, and easily integrated. So I'll talk about who uses marine maps in particular, or certainly many of our customers fit into these different categories. So a wide range of different bodies working within the marine and maritime space, government agencies, marine security communications, offshore is a big growing sector. Environmental, coastal protection, marine science and discovery, fisheries, aquaculture, education and academic institutions, of course, insurance, commercial waste disposal, commercial mineral and marine asset extraction, environmental and coastal monitoring, marine accident investigation. The Marine Accident Investigation Board is a customer of ours that uses our mapping, marine transportation, ports and harbors. Ports and harbors are really big customers who are using our marine mapping in particular. So you can see there's quite a range of organizations that are interested in using mapping of the oceans. Okay, so I need to cover what marine maps are accessible and how you can get to it through Digimap. So there's a marine section on Digimap, and this is where we can find the marine and coastal mapping data. This is then divided into two different products, or two different categories. There's chart roam and marine roam. Chart roam is a basic background map, where marine roam is a rich vector data set with layers which you can turn on and off. So I'm going to go into a bit of detail about those two products. Starting off with the chart roam. This is essentially raster charts. These are essentially charts that are used for navigation. They're digital versions of paper charts that mariners would have on board ships. They're here provided as an image within the service, and they are obviously geospatially referenced, but their basic background or base map, they provide a good kind of base that you can use to display your other data on. I guess an advantage to these is people like them. People have familiarity, a bit like using, say, a raster ordnance survey map of the land. It's designed for a particular purpose, often recreation potentially, but people are familiar with it, and that's the same with these sorts of charts. People, particularly mariners, are used to these charts, and they provide an understanding. People understand them when they look at them as a map of the sea, essentially. But they don't work for everybody, and I think this is partly where our other product comes into, which is the marine themed vector product. This is much more than a chart. It has a lot more data than you would have just for navigation. It's a rich data set, and you can customize your own view to your own requirements by turning on and off layers. And this data then can be used for analysis, planning. You can explore and investigate the data. It's divided into different categories. These categories correspond with Inspire themes, if that means something to you. But they're broken down into shipwrecks, obstructions, industrial features, transport navigation features, tides and currents, bathymetry and land, and administration zones. They're sourced based on electronic navigational charts as a basis, but we enrich that with more information that we obtain from hydrographic offices, things like shipwrecks. For example, wrecks, you get wrecks in a navigational chart, but they only show the wrecks that are important to shipping, i.e. something that might be an obstruction to a navigation. They don't show all the wrecks. We have access to other information, and we enrich this data set to bring in all known wrecks into the data set. So Digimap delivers the same high quality marine data used by professionals in the UK and all over the world. Yeah, that's true. We provide this as a data product in industry to our customers. So it's the same product that's available to you through Digimap. Okay, so that's the products. A little bit about how these are being used. There's a couple of case studies here. Um, the first is the Welsh government. They're required as part of the marine plan to present an accurate marine mapping that is available and understanding to anyone who needs it. So this is actually a really nice portal. If you go and have a look for it, Wales Marine Mapping Portal. I think actually I could click on the link, but I think on the next slide we can have a just look at some of the things. There's a really an amazing abundance of information and layers in the marine space around Wales. I think it's one of the better ones that I've seen, covering a wide range of different sectors, many of the sectors we've been talking about: marine licensing, underwater communications pipelines, uh, navigational type information as well. So it's really, really abundant of conservation areas, marine protection zones, etc. So they're using it for planning in the marine space. Where does the mapping comes in? Well, it's really the base for this solution. They have a bathymetric and a DEM background that you can choose between. So it provides context for everything else that they're trying to display. Without that context, you're just using, I guess, land-based data, whether it's OS or OpenStreetMap or something, which doesn't really have anything in for the sea environment. And considering this is a portal for marine planning, having that context of these marine maps is really, really important to that. Our second example is the Vattenfall. So they are a company in energy, offshore energy, and they use our raster products. Our brand is called Raster Charts, or RC, Raster Charts XL, where we exclude the land from the product. So you just get you get like marine chart data that is just for the sea and not the land, because the land on marine charts, if anyone's familiar with it, don't really show you too much. It's not so useful. So you can overlay these charts where we've cut out the land onto other land-based data. So OpenStreetMap, just for an example. So you get to see you get the best of both worlds. So you get the marine data for the sea, which is this chart-based data, and then on the land you can then just use the land-based data, which has better value for that area. So Vattenfall have been using this product as a base for a lot of their work and their planning and things, and they're working with people who are familiar with charts and navigation as well. So I think that's why they particularly like using this. So they're citing wind farms and maintaining wind farms and that sort of thing. So they're using this as a tool to understanding the environment they're working within their GIS, basically. Okay, so I said at the beginning that we would end with a few marine stats. So maritime productivity, turnover, employment increased over the last 5 years despite COVID. It equals more investment and more jobs in the sector. Our ocean are natural assets worth an estimated 1,200 billion euros globally. Governments are looking to the seas to bolster economy. That's included in the UK. And less than 20% of the ocean floor has been mapped. 13% in just the past 4 years. And scientists are trying to map it all by 2030. Scientists know more about Mars and Venus than the dark side of the moon than they know about the Earth's ocean's depths. And 60 to 70% of all oceans are still under no jurisdiction at all. and we simply don't know enough yet about our oceans. So continued research and development opportunities. The world is your ocean. Why is the academic sector important to us? We want students to use the best value, the best data available. We understand that research and development requires the best possible mapping and the latest data. You will see consistency with what is being used in industry and government and regulators. I hope I've demonstrated that what we're wanting to provide you is the same, or to provide students is the same that we also provide to industry as well. Fresh minds, ask questions, push development, innovation. We are listening and are open to your ideas. So that's pretty much what we wanted to talk about. So I said it we would have plenty of time, but I'm really open to your any questions you may have.